Just for the record, state and spell your name.
Okay. Amala. Do I say Doja Cat? I do. Of course I do.
Well, what do you want me to call you?
Call me Doja.
Doja.
Yes. Or Doge.
Why did you feel, and it seems as almost that you knew that an alias was the way to go. Why so?
I think that I wanted to separate myself from my work, and it just felt safer to me to do that. Like being separate from it would give me somewhere to sort of escape to. Like when I wanted to make music, I didn't have to necessarily like be myself almost. Like I could talk about being cheated on while I'm not being cheated on, or I could talk about, you know, when I'm writing about situations in general. I'm not really always pulling from my personal life.
That I find that fascinating because not many artists of a certain age understand that. Because a lot of people do draw from their personal life. They pour it into the page. They pour it into their writing. But to be intentional about not doing that, there's that took something special out of you.
Yeah.
Why? How did you know?
I don't know. I didn't know, and I don't know. I just like, it just felt like something I had to do in that moment. Yeah, I always wanted to like create different themes and characters throughout, you know, even elementary, middle school. Like I would dress up as certain things. I remember I came into class one time dressed up as Santa Claus in like elementary school. I think it was like first grade or something. I don't know. But like I'm always wanting to like create a character, create some sort of narrative and theme and world.
Fantasy.
World building.
So this room has some special meaning. I mean, you spent some time here.
Yeah.
This is Electric Lady Studios. I love that name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good name.
Where did you spend your time? Was it
on that couch and 0% here in front of the control boards. I don't know how any of this works. I know each of these little things here are a track, but that's as far as my knowledge goes.
But I mean, take me from this to when you first start. I mean, you were doing it all.
Yeah, so I came in here after I made a couple songs in LA, and then I came in here and started working with Jack Antonoff. And it was just super easy to kind of get into my element here. Like I remember, I feel like the first song that we made could have been One More Time. It could have been Stranger. I'm not sure, but I know like it was immediate. Like it just felt very comfortable working here. I love that, like this upstairs area is the best area because you get the outdoors. There's a basement area, which is like iconic. A lot of artists from the past have worked down there that are like legends. And so it's incredible, but you kind of get a stairwell, but that's fine. At least there's something. But I love being up here because you get some sunlight and we hang out on the, patio and stuff like that. And so it's been nice.
Did you draw from the energy of those who came before?
Every time I go in the bathroom, which is like lined with faces of like legends, I'm sitting there and I'm like peeing and I'm like, wow, could this be me? I don't know. Maybe not. But it's a very cool studio. And yeah, Jimi Hendrix was, I think it was Jimi Hendrix who worked here. And I don't want to mess it up. I was going to say another artist, but I'm not sure exactly.
Go ahead.
Just know Jimmy was here. It could have been Lenny Kravitz. I don't know.
Was Lenny Kravitz here? I don't think so.
He may have lived here. Somebody lived here. It was Jimmy for sure worked here, but someone lived here.
And Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I just have to go here because you brought it up. What is it about you and sharing urinary tract.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Grammy moment was so.
Oh, yeah. It's a pattern, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
It is
What
a
was
pattern.
that? Were you nervous? Were you.
I overshare. I'm a bit of an oversharer. I think that I just don't have enough shame. And maybe, yeah, it could have been that. I wanted to be honest. And I don't know.
My friends used to say, Michelle, filter.
Yeah.
Filter.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's like it doesn't matter because it's like everybody pees, right?
Yeah.
If you overshare certain things like trauma dumping in certain situations, maybe isn't helpful to you in every, instance. But, it gives people an idea of like what you don't care about hearing. Like I connect with people in that way when I'm like, I have to go take a piss. Then they're like, oh, okay, she's like one of those where she's like going to tell me she has to go take a piss. And she's going to tell me everything. I don't know. I'm an open book.
You feel that way.
Yeah.
What comes in? I've looked, I've watched, I've listened, and I have to say, you have such a wide range in terms of what you cover. And you have a wide range in terms of what you share. Mm-hmm. And before I kind of go into that, because it's like this is a free-flowing conversation, but I sense that that imagination can take you anywhere. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you start. Like, how does that process flow for you? Because I know you're more so into, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's the music that drives you, not so much the lyrics of the moment.
Yeah, it's not always lyrics. I think that I start off with sort of mumbles every time I write, but not every time. There's some times where there's things I really want to talk about, and for this album, it kind of has been that way. I've been trying to follow a recipe of like staying not confined, what's the word, but more cohesive and wanting to like talk about love in all of its aspects. Loving others, being in a relationship, and also your relationship with yourself. And I think music is just always, it's a lot of that, We don't talk about blowing bubblegum bubbles and flying kites. Like, what's that one band from the 70s? Free Design. Like, that's really cool music because it doesn't talk about that all the time. But I love to talk about love. I love to talk about, relationships and dynamics and things like that. And this is kind of that,
So the album is called?
It's called V.
Why V?
It means life in French, and it evolved from, tu es ma vie, all that. So I think it came from the number 5. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get a 5 tatted on me, and instead I chose Roman numerals, and I liked the 3 V's a lot, and it reminded me of Scarlet in the way it kind of like came off the back of, we had like an upside down A for Amala, but it was also the, what is that? From the Scarlet Letter. Mm-hmm. It's the upside down A or like a red A or something like that. And so I wanted to kind of morph that into V, what's a word that starts with a V, and then I chose V in French because that means life, and I feel like you can't have life without love. You can't create life. You can't bring life into a room without there being love. Also, just like quite literally, you can't make life without making love.
Hey.
And so I really liked the idea of that. And I also like the way the word looks, just that beautiful V and then the I, the dot and the E and it swishes. And I have it in cursive on my rib cage. It's like the main thing for the whole rollout.
Are you happy with everything you make, or?
Not all the time, no. But I'm happy with it in the moment, and then it's the way that I grow with it that has always been a bit of a challenge or a learning process. It takes a while for me to, like, it's weird with Say So and Kiss Me More and things like that. I mean, more so Say So. That was like my #1 song, that my first #1 ever. And I kind of like hated it a little bit for like a while. Because it was just always knocking at my ear, and hearing it in the car, I was like, oh, this is great, but I've heard this now 1,000,000 times. And I love to change my tune and my vibe a lot. So it's like sticking to something for what felt like forever just felt, like a lot.
What's it like for you on tour when you're singing those songs over and over
Yeah, I
and
mean,
over again?
again, it's like, it just is like constant, like the same thing every day. And I want to kind of change my vibe, but like it's taken till kind of the beginning of this album, to like appreciate my older stuff. I think it was a return to that, because Scarlet was sort of like this, like just a release of energy that was very different from all of that. And so I feel like I'm just in a place where I want to do what I know. And I know that those first 2 albums, well, the first 3, were kind of all coinciding with each other. Mm-hmm. And so V feels like an evolved version of all of those things.
So for you, what is the relationship between creativity and virality?
So it's interesting because, what was my answer? It's like, of course I want to world build. And I think that it takes an immense amount of creativity to world build with not that much money. I'm just going to say it. And I think that there's sometimes like, I don't do songs with the intention of them getting big. I think I tend to lean into melodies that sound quite pop. And I'm inspired by a lot of pop artists from the past. So I think that it tends to just naturally flow in that way. But I get mad at my biggest songs, I think. And it's been a pattern. Like, I was not the biggest fan of Say So after Say So came out, and then Paint the Town Red. You can ask all my managers. They were like, this is our favorite song. And I'm like, yeah, but what about Skull and Bones? What about Shut Show? What about this one? What about... And it's just something that, like, when I know something is going to be big, I think there's I get triggered. There's like a bit of fear behind that because I know what that comes with. And so I tend to I'm like, yeah, that song sounds like it would play in a JCPenney. Okay, all right.
Ooh.
But I'm not mad at that because it makes me money and that I can use to put forward into my vision visually. And I am a visual artist. And so it gives me freedom to world build. And I love making the music. It's after I make the music that I'm like, all right, I'm moving on.
You have a real appreciation for the melody, the cadence, the beat.
Yeah.
And you spoke of it before. It's like what comes out of you and you wanting to put the music in the forefront.
Yeah.
And the words
Right.
have less meaning than the song itself.
Right. I think so that I tend to speak of my music in the sense of like, I like this because it sounds good, not because it's speaking to me lyrically. And I think that's how I attach to music in ways. Mm-hmm. And I am a lyricist, and at times I'm a great lyricist. And then at times, I don't know what I'm saying. I put it there because it feels right, and then maybe I regret it later. But I love to just love what I'm hearing and like not sit and expect something or expect a message or expect something profound. I think when I go into music, like listening to other people's music that way, I don't get much out of it. Those should always come by surprise. And there's very few and far between writers who can do that. So, I mean, it's all about how it sounds to me. And I wanted for this project to have more instruments. And so we worked with a lot of saxophone and a lot of other things. I don't even know what they're called. But Jack Antonoff is really great when it comes to sourcing musicians. So this was that.
So, I mean, like, so many people want to pigeonhole artists, and I just find this generation is breaking the mold on that. I mean, there's so many categories you hit. And when you think of that, what is it about your generation?
I think that coming out of like the 90s, I think that there was a hope for the future, and artists were doing everything and playing a lot with irony. And I think that it's just gotten more and more ironic over the years, like rappers wearing skirts and pop people wearing, like rappers wearing skirts is a big one, and dresses, like that was, and being in touch with their feminine side. And I think that irony is what catapulted my generation and generations to come forward, is people who are not, following a path that is expected for them. I think it's more than just like being androgynous and things like that. But that's, I mean, in the 80s, that was the thing. It was like Prince was on top. He still is. I mean, it's like embracing parts of yourself that are real and true without being apologetic. I think that's what allowed people to be more experimental, and I feel like that's what shaped me in a way, where I feel like there are no barriers.
So rap, pop, jazz,
Yeah.
R&B, is there a genre that does not
That I
define
won't
you?
do? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interrupting.
No, go there, girl. What won't you do?
Country.
Okay. I just have a feeling that at some point in time you're gonna go there,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna come back and say,
What about, remember that one time?
Yeah. So not country, but if there was one that you would say best reflects your music, what would it be?
I think pop. I think I'm a rapper that makes pop music.
Why does pop get such a bad rap?
Because it's popular. I think anything that does, pop does root for the underdog, but at the end of the day, it's popular, and it's pop music. You can make pop music about the underdog. I think people want to feel like they can relate to something, and pop can be so out of like this reality. I mean, it's like, it's glam, it's camp, it's and it's going to be redefined in the future, but I think like, people look at pop and they're like fast fashion, or like, I'm at the mall and I'm bored and something like that sometimes. People need that though. People need some sort of plainness, because life is very chaotic. Not to say that my music is plain or anyone's music is plain, but it's, we need that. We need the contrast between what is edge and what is not edge. And sometimes pop is edgy. Sometimes pop is camp, like I said. So I feel like I have with Scarlett. And also going back to pop music. I think there's a narrative on like Twitter and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, she's going back to pop music because the other thing didn't work, which doesn't make sense because it felt so good to do that. And we did such an incredible set of tours for that project, and it's just, I felt like I won. I felt so good doing all of that. And now I'm back where I know I can thrive and doing new things with that too, even. So
I just find people always want to be success or failure. And the pattern of growth is never in consideration. That whether it's success or failure, the growth that happens in those moments or in the in between.
Yeah. It's like you have to like love your spirit, love on yourself in order to grow at all. And sometimes that love means to either step back or try something new that may not work or people might not understand. And you have to listen to yourself, not what's happening outside and what people are demanding of you. And so, it's important.
This has been so fun.
I loved this.
This was great.
Wonderful.
It really was.